right, let's go to Lucas in Twin Falls. What's up, Lucas?
Hey, Dr. John, how's it going, man?
Good. What's up?
So I'm calling you because I'd like to get some advice from you on how I can help my parents get out of a very unhealthy living situation with my older brother, who's 31 years old. I'll start off. This has been something that's essentially transpired for the past 10 to 12 years. It all started when my older brother got into some pretty bad legal trouble when I was in high school. He's been in and out of jail, in and out of treatment centers, and he's still living at home. And so essentially, I've been struggling with seeing my parents letting him stay at home without having any boundaries, while basically being a very bipolar addict, and things are just super, super volatile with them there right now.
Why has this come up now? Does something happen? Have you suddenly just worried about them, or have you tried things? Why now?
Yeah. So basically, I feel like my relationship with my parents is potentially on a thin line, just because I've just been super frustrated with them, just allowing my brother to live at home and basically ruin their life. My parents are both in their 60s right now, and I feel like at this point you can only give someone so many chances. Just to give you some more details, my brother, he is sick. He is a struggling addict. He's done pretty much everything under the sun. He's also clinically bipolar. So just when you mix narcotics along with bipolar disorder, it's not a good thing. And in my recent conversations with my family, I feel like my parents are honestly just scared of retaliation from him if they try to kick him out.
It's actually not that. I'm going to be super truthful with you, okay?
Okay.
Your parents are getting something out of this relationship. Whether toxic, whether sideways, whether what? This is feeding something for them. Whether they feel some kind of guilt over the bipolar stuff, or if there's stuff from y'all's childhood that they are trying to, quote unquote, make up for or live into, or they're blaming themselves, whatever it is, they are getting something out of this relationship. And maybe that it is safety and security because they're scared he's going to go do something if they kick it. All that to say, it's going to be hard for you to hear. None of this is your business. What your business is what you are willing to tolerate relationally with the people that you love. And this is going to be hard to hear, but you have been clear with your parents that your brother needs professional help and that he's probably draining them financially. He's probably has seasons when he's not safe to be around, and they are choosing him over your boundaries. And that leaves you to decide what you are going to do inside of your boundaries. So the hard answer here is there's really nothing you can do for them. You can love them. You can be kind. You can have one more hard final with gusto conversation. But at the end of the day, they're 60-something-year-old adults who are making a choice on a daily basis to live a life for some reason. And the question is not, how can I get these 60-something-year-olds to change? You're not going to. You have to figure out how to be well inside of this context. And for most of us, well in this side of context is, I'm going to go make other choices so I can be well. Y'all are making your choices. Behavior's a language. They're choosing him over themselves and over you. That makes sense?
Yeah, no, it does.
It's a harsh way to say it, I know. I know.
Yeah.
And here's the deal. They might be helping him with a roof. That's a huge help for an addict. That's a huge help for someone struggling with mental health challenges. But another huge help is high accountability and responsibility.
Right. Well, and that's so. So first of all, I totally agree with what you said, and I do appreciate it. But that's the piece that's missing is that there's zero accountability there, and from what I've seen over the years and what I've talked about with friends and outside family members is that they think they're helping him, but it's really just enabling, right?
Lucas,
And,
Lucas,
yeah.
you got to walk away. You have diagnosed your brother. You've diagnosed the problem with your parents. You've diagnosed the relational issues. And what you're doing is you're churning energy on a situation you cannot control. You probably have a friend who all they do all day long is watch political news. And they come up with these crazy theories about trade deficits and oil prices, and it's because of this. And literally, they can control nothing. They're wasting their day. They're absolutely wasting their day. You can look at the gas pump and say, man, that's terrible. I'm going to have to adjust my budget. I'm going to have to adjust what I buy at the store. I'm going to have to adjust how much I drive or carpooling. That will help. But me just sitting on YouTube all day trying to come up with solutions for problems that, see what I'm saying? Like it becomes this futile spinning and spinning and spinning. And that's where you are, man. And what it's doing at the end of the day, it's an affirmative choice to take joy and beauty and peace out of your life, trying to solve another problem. You're going to have to grieve it. It's going to suck, right? But you haven't dropped your shoulders and just said, this is the way this is. This is how my parents are choosing to live. And when you do,
no, you're right.
When you do that, it's going to hurt, man, because you're going to miss your parents. You're going to miss your brother. And then you're going to have to do the hard work of seeking to not spin your wheels trying to solve a problem you can't solve, but in seeking joy and finding peace and finding laughter and finding community and finding friends to meet some of those needs that you hope that your parents would meet, but they're not meeting them because they're too hung up on their other situation.
Yeah. Okay. So then that being said, what's your advice on setting boundaries within the relationship with my parents, and then, deciding whether or not I want to go back home for the holidays and all that stuff? Because
great question.
As when you have when you have a prodigal son in your family, that tends to be the topic of most of the conversations.
Yep.
And, going home for the holidays is already hard enough for most people, but when you have something like this, there's just that other looming elephant in the room. So, what's your advice on, setting boundaries for myself, for my own mental sanity and mental health? By the way, I actually started going to therapy for many reasons last year, but this was actually one of them, was just kind of coping with this.
Cool.
With this whole thing.
Good for you for taking affirmative steps. Ultimately, it's this. You deciding, forget the consequences, decide what you're worth, and decide your value, and decide what you'll tolerate and what you won't. And it may come down to a conversation like this. I love you, Mom and Dad, with all my heart. I can no longer be a participant in a relationship where I'm watching somebody hurt my parents over and over and over, and I will not talk about my brother anymore. And so if he's going to be there during Thanksgiving or Christmas, I'm going to choose to not go. And so you're not doing ultimatums. You're not threatening. You are making grown-up choices with your grown-up finances and your grown-up choice-making abilities. They can then make grown-up choices on their own on whether we're going to have to ask brother to leave because we want Lucas to come home. Or we're going to talk bad about Lucas and make him feel guilty and make him feel really bad for not caring about his brother and for leaving his parents high and dry. That's their grown-up choices to make, how they respond. You cannot control that. And the more you hem in your needs to try to make somebody else feel less awkward, the further from an authentic core you get, the crazier you'll feel. And most of us feel crazy by getting pissed off. We get angry.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And then we get angry. We start trying to blame and solve, and that's a whole look at our culture. That's us, right?
No, and I mean you're right, and yeah.
Or telling your brother,
angry,
I will not come to mom and dad's house if you're still there. It's time for you to check into a rehab facility, and it's time for you to get clean. And if you're not, great, I am going to choose to not be a part of this dysfunction. And when you hang up the phone, you may have a hole in your gut. You may weep for hours. And the follow-up phone calls and texts and letters may be caustic and mean. You may have to get to where you block your parents from texting you, because they're going to send these long talk-to-text texts, right, that are so dramatic and so long. I cannot control the response of other adults to my needs.
Mm-hmm.
And you might have to do the really hard work of finding a new gang to do Thanksgiving with, or a new gang to do Christmas with. And it might be the first peaceful holiday season you've had in a long, long time.
Yeah. Well, I can say so. I've been married for a little over 3 years, and once I got married, it's basically been holidays have been with my in-laws, and it's been a lot better.
There you go.
You know,
you have a new picture, right? You have another picture. Family can look like this. I thought it just looked like that.
Yeah,
this could look way different, right? And that's fantastic. That's wonderful. I want you to mourn this, like trying to think. Somewhere inside, there is a picture you had of when you have your first little one, or of how your parents were going to welcome in your wife, and we're going to hug, and it was going to be this big dramatic thing, and they were going to be best friends, and your brother was going to clean up. And at some point, you have to grieve it. You have to have a funeral, if you will, for that picture. It's not going to happen, or at least it's not going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
And once we do that, then we can begin to deal with reality, which is probably not going to do Christmas and holidays there. It's not a safe place for me and my family. And that's awful. I hate that. And maybe one day, 2 years later, 5 years later, 6 years later, mom and dad make some pretty dramatic changes. Brother gets clean. They decide to hold him accountable. They decide, well, we're going to have nothing, right? This might mean you're out of the will, or you're not going to get inheritance, whatever. Great, man. These are about you. This is about you being well and living a peaceful, joyful life. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ultimately,
for sure.
It's about reclaiming control that you've outsourced to them, because you're waiting for them to make the quote unquote right choices and decisions so that you can feel better. And that's never going to work that way.
Yeah, no, man, you're right.
I hate that, man. I feel like I'm
though.
I feel like it's like, hey, here's a balloon. I'm like, let me pop it. Ha ha ha.
Yeah. No. I mean, shoot, I was the one who called, so I asked for it. So
you called me, bro.
Good, man.
No, here's what I really want. I want you to have a holiday season where you laugh really hard from your guts, and you get a few days off of work, and you sleep like you're in a black hole. You wake up refreshed, and you have a breakfast that's a little bit bigger than you should probably have, and y'all go for a walk when it's freezing cold outside and you're miserable, but it's kind of awesome. Like, not worrying about mom and dad's finances and their choices, and is there some other way I can say it, or there's some other way I can manipulate it, or something I can do for. Set that stuff down, man.
Yeah.
Set it down. See what I'm saying? I hate this for you, dude. I really do. I wish your brother would have some clarity, and I wish some people in his life that were really close to him would hold him to some high accountability and help him get the care that he needs, instead of just giving him a free pass, because it's not helping him, right? And you know that.
Right.
We're just not there yet. But if your parents are ever not safe, of course, call the police. You can get involved that way. You can write them the final letter. You can just be pretty open about your boundaries, or you can just let it kind of fade, right? You can just let it kind of fade and not call as much, or not text, and just begin to work on the things you can control, which are the relationships that people who are willing to reciprocate, right? And they may reach out in a month or 2 months or 3 months and say, hey, I haven't heard from you in a while. And you can say, hey, it's great to hear from you, and go about your day. And just slowly let things fade. And if they ever call you on it, you can say, yeah, I've made some pretty conscious choices to not watch you guys get hurt anymore, and not watch brother get get hurt anymore because he's not getting the care that he needs. And I just chose to step out and control what I could control. And man, hard road ahead of you, and it's also a right road. And my hope is there's some reconciliation in your family, my brother. I hope so.